In basic mixer terminology, inputs is a term that means any audio that's coming into a hardware device and therefore comes into Pro Tools as well. An output, conversely, is an audio source that is leaving Pro Tools or exiting through an external output device. A channel insert, or an insert as it's known by its short name, is a device that affects the entire audio signal on a specific channel. In Pro Tools, inserts are plugins. On analog consoles, inserts are actually hardware. Pro Tools supports 10 separate insert locations. 5 here, insert A to E, and 5 here, insert F to J. So 10 insert locations are available inside of a Pro Tools session. Sends and returns are ways that Pro Tools can get audio information to a different location and then to return it again into Pro Tools. So sends and returns can be either external and go outside of Pro Tools, out to like a digital reverb hardware device or compressor, something like that, or they can be internal and your audio can be routed to a different track and then returned back into Pro Tools. Pro Tools also has 10 specific sends that are available, A through E and F through J, just like the 10 insert points that we discussed just a minute ago. So 10 sends and 10 inserts that can be viewed and used. These sends can either be post-fader or pre-fader. If they're pre-fader, that means that the audio is sent to its location before this fader. So as you change this volume level, if it's pre-fader, it won't affect what's being sent. If you select post-fader, then as you change this volume, it also affects the level of audio being sent. So pre and post fader. Let's discuss some of the basic architecture of the mix window. First of all, as we view each channel strip from the top down, again we have our inserts, and we can add additional inserts by coming up to the View drop-down menu, Mix Window Views, and Inserts. That adds the inserts F through J. So there's our 10 available inserts in Pro Tools. Below that we have our sends, 10 sends that are available. Again, we can reduce this to 5 if we want to save our vertical real estate, but there are 10 that are available. So View drop-down menu, Mix Window Views, and Sends. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off some of the extra sends and inserts, so we just have 5 visible for now. The next series of buttons are the input and output. In Pro Tools, this is where we select where we want Pro Tools to look for its specific input, which hardware input to look for the audio, and then also where to send the audio. So our input and output for our instrument and audio tracks, as well as our auxiliary input tracks. Here we have our pan controls that controls where we hear a specific instrument in the audio field. And then lastly, we have our volume fader that controls the volume of a specific channel. In Pro Tools, inserts are plugins. I mentioned earlier that in traditional consoles, inserts are hardware. In Pro Tools, they're plugins and they affect the entire signal. So if we decide we want to add a plugin as an insert, we certainly can do that. If I solo this guitar track, as a matter of fact, you can hear the guitar. Sounds like it's going through a nice amp. In reality, that's the original guitar sound. And what I'm doing is I have applied an insert plugin that's an amplifier simulator. In this case, it's emulating an orange dual terror amp. So that's been placed on this guitar track as an insert, so it's affecting the entire signal. One way I like to think of this is that if the signal's coming down like this through the channel strip, what's happening is when it gets to this insert, it's going out here and it's being processed and then coming back in right here and continuing its journey down through the channel strip. That way, the entire signal is being sent through this particular plug-in or insert. Remember, a send is only sending a certain portion of the signal to a different location. So definitely a difference between an insert and a send.